Do not defraud one another, except by mutual consent. What does this mean? A wife should not restrain herself without her husband's consent, nor a husband against his wife's will. Why? Because from such great continence some evils arise, from it adulteries, fornication, and often the ruin of households. If indeed when a man has a wife he commits lust, much more so if he is deprived of this support. And rightly did he say, "Do not defraud one another," calling what he called debt fraud, in order to better indicate dominion. For to restrain one another against the will of the other is defrauding. If both want it, it is not. For if after persuading me you receive something from me, I do not consider myself defrauded. He is defrauding who takes something from someone against their will and by violence. This is what many women do, who admit greater sin through excessive justice, and for this reason are guilty of their husband's libertinism, and subvert everything. It is important to put concord before everything, because it is preferable to everything. And if it pleases you, let us examine the problem itself. Suppose a woman and a husband, whose wife restrains herself against the husband's will. What will happen if he is thereby induced to fornication? Or does not commit impurity, but is saddened, disturbed, inflamed, fights and creates innumerable troubles for the wife? What is the profit of fasting and continence, when charity is injured? None. Indeed, how many outrages, how many troubles, how much strife necessarily arise from it? When a husband and wife disagree in a house, the house will be in no better condition than a ship tossed by a storm, while the pilot and the subordinate at the bow are at odds. Therefore the Apostle says, "Do not defraud one another, except by mutual consent, and for a time, so that you may give yourselves to fasting and prayer." He speaks of more fervent prayer. If, then, the custom of marriage hinders prayer, what opportunity is there for the precept of praying without interruption? It is lawful, therefore, to have relations with one's wife and to devote oneself to prayer. But through continence prayer becomes more fervent. He does not simply say, "that you may pray," but, "that you may give yourselves to prayer," because it is not uncleanness but offers leisure. After this, come together again, so that Satan may not tempt you. In order that it may not seem like a precept, he adds the cause. What is it? So that Satan may not tempt you. And so that you may be aware that the devil is not the only cause of adultery, he adds, through your incontinence.